Hi everyone, it's Ali and I am back with my second of two CanCon Canadian content videos. So I already did one about my tarot decks that have some kind of Canadian content, and this is the Oracle deck edition. Now, like my collection, it will be not very surprising to know I have far fewer Oracle decks than I do tarot decks. So it'll be maybe a shorter video. We'll see how long I ramble on for. And I want to give the same caveat as I did with my tarot deck video in that just because all of these decks have some Canadian production, actually my oracles, all the decks but one, it's a Canadian artist. And then one of the decks, it's just the book that is the Canadian, and then it was done by an American artist, and I'll get to that when I get to it. But a bunch of them, it's both, because it's either the both Canadians or just one creator making both. But my caveat is I don't know how anything works in the real world. So just because there is Canadian contributions to these works, it doesn't mean that they're published in Canada on like by a Canadian publishing house. I just don't know. I don't know. I don't know. So they're probably all printed in China. So blah, 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 whatever. That's not how we Canadians roll. What we do is we find someone who's got like a tiny percentage of Canadian in them and then happily clasp them and say, you're one of us. It's just what we do. So having said that, I want to get started. I'm going to start with, I already laid one of the decks out because it's sort of the most complicated to show off, but I also think it's so cool. And this deck needs some love. So this is from a creator called Midnight Raven Studios, who is Ontario artist, pretty local to me, I think, in that I found this deck at like a local craft market. So the creator is Midnight Raven, and I'll link everything in the comments, but the oracle is called the Midnight Star, and it just comes in this little muslin bag. So really nice printed muslin bag. Not expensive for what you get. And this must be the most versatile Oracle deck that I own. It is so good. And I can't wait to show you how you could use it. Well, I mean, you could use it in a billion different ways, I guess is what I'm trying to say. So I'll start off, I guess. Maybe I'll start. Where will I start? I'll start here. So these are the backs. And it's just a regular tarot size oracle, which I don't mind at all. I quite like, actually. So aren't they pretty? Not reversible, and I don't think really anybody cares in Oracle decks. Maybe you do. I don't know. So what you could do, I've got 5 different piles here because there are different sections of this Oracle deck. So could you just shuffle it and pull a card at random? Of course you could. But you could also remove select groups of cards and use it for all kinds of different things. So the first section I'm going to show you, I won't show you every card, but I would call this sort of the personas, the archetypes of the deck. So you've got, for example, the warrior with a symbol or an illustration. And then we've got a phrase, I have the courage to speak for those who cannot. And under that, we've got 3 keywords, protection, strength, courage. So just to show you a few more of the archetypes, the Love Witch. And I love that the Love Witch is constantly working on my relationship with my own self. Interestingly, that's the only one without keywords. I don't know. Again, this is as indie as an indie deck will come. So I'm not sure if that's an intentional thing because, you know, doing love things is tricky. And, you know, you have to be careful of boundaries and consent, blah, blah, blah. Or if it's just a little quirk of this deck that doesn't have the 3 keywords. The Rebel, the Advisor. So you get it. The Naturalist, the Artist. I'm a master of self-expression, and in doing so, I make the world better. Creative, expressive, imaginative. Oh, so good. So you could pull out this little section of cards and just work with those. Maybe you want to work with an archetype for a day, or think about how that's melding with what you're doing in your own pursuits. Maybe you want to carry it with you and something you want to embody more. So there's that section. So then we have, I don't know really what to call this except for the action section, the verb section, although it's not always just one word, but like the being of it. So for example, this one does this have keywords? No, this one just has the sort of phrase underneath. Zest for life. I'm living to put myself first and feeling abundant in this moment. So not linking specifically to a persona, but something to do. Love your shadow. I am whole. I'm a balance of my dark and light. Hermit mode. Comfortable with my body and my mind and with my soul. What a great clarifying section this would be for a tarot reading, without use with other oracle decks, use with all these other sections I'm going to talk about in the oracle. Ground. Chill vibes. I'll do one more. Banish. That's a good one. Dump them. So yeah, so like the action, the doing. Okay, so then we have another section of cards. Just about that thick. I'm sure I should have counted them all ahead of time, but I did not. And these are planets. You want to work with some planetary energy? Well, well, well. Again, we've got Neptune, embrace your inner weirdo, and so a phrase, and some keywords. Saturn. So maybe you just want to get some planetary energy. Maybe you want to pull this out with your archetypes card. Maybe you want to like look at planetary in a verb. Like just see how versatile this is. So good. Anyway, all your typicals. And there's a moon card here. I'm just going to point that out because we've got the moon sort of in the action planetary cards. We're going to come back to some moons in a minute. Okay, so maybe archetypes. Okay, but what about specific goddesses, you ask? Well, I got those. These ones are all black, which I think is interesting. I do really like how color is used in this deck. So again, phrase, keyword. So all of these different things that embody different goddesses. Right? Is enough to exist as you are in your authentic self. Oh, so good. And then finally, well, what if I want to be super witchy though? What if it's not enough to just look at goddesses and these words? Well, howdy doody. Now, this is also all black, so maybe this is all meant to go with the different goddesses, but I just separated them out. Well, how about some straight up witchy stuff? Rediscover the magic, look to the past. Oh, do you hear my cat? Kitty, it's okay. Choose a different path. Hecate's crossroads. And then, oh, sorry, here's why I brought up the moon, is that we've got all the moon phases in this section as well. Well, I put them in this section. Again, you can do it however you want. So, Newman. And waxing. So maybe you want to lay out the moon cycles for the month and then draw a planet and a goddess and a verb or something. Like there's just so many different ways that you can play with this deck. I think it's such a banger and I think everybody should get one. And with the Canadian dollar being as it is right now, foreigners, you can't miss with this deck. So not edged. Again, I don't care about that. That's not something that bothers me. And the Oracle deck's name is the Midnight Star Oracle deck. I know for sure she delivers to the US and Canada. Beyond that, I'm not 100% sure. Probably. I don't know. I'll link and you can check it out. But I think this is the most fantastic Oracle deck. It's super fun. And oh, I should also say that it comes with a QR code that I haven't even looked at. Like it's just so for just more information about the cards and the connecting to the deck. I've been having so much fun with it that I haven't felt the need to click on that. Although I am curious and interested, I do want to. I just haven't done it yet. So that is the Midnight Star Oracle by Midnight Raven Studios. Okay, next we have the Green Witches Oracle deck. This one's pretty new to my collection, by Erin Murphy Hiscock. And this is the one deck where the artist is actually American. So the artist is Sarah Richard. She's actually from Salem, so that's fun. Oh, I should show you actually. So it comes with a guidebook here that I really like. It's really good. So in the guidebook, you get a little image and well, there's a little sneak peek of the cards because these cards are just so gorgeous. Erin Murphy Hiscock, the author of this deck, has produced several Oracle decks. This is the only one I happen to have. But you should check her out. She's just released one. I just looked it up too before I started this video. It's not the secret language of birds, but it's something like that. It's bird related. So if you are interested in birds or something, maybe you want to check that one out. I just looked it up the second before I pressed record. How silly of me to have forgotten already. Anyway, these are the beautiful backs. Sumptuous. Oh, I love it. I think I'm probably going to end up using this mostly in the fall season. It has incredibly autumnal vibes to me. So we've got our image and then some keywords. Oh, sorry. I've been playing around with this, so nothing's going to be straight. We've got some herbs in there. So we had cauldron, bee, we've got mint, we've got crystals in here as well. I really like this little altar card because it's got cards from this deck on it, which I think is super cute. Oh, and one of the things I really like about this altar card is the first word is gratitude, which I really like in terms of like an altar, a place of celebration and reflection and gratitude. I just really like that as a keyword. More herbs. Earthworm. I love that the earthworm is hugging a crystal. I think worms are so cute. So fog. I'm looking for some crystal cards just in case people are interested in that. So this is a real mix of really sweet, sort of autumnal, witchy things. Carnelian. There's a crystal there. Roots. Oh gosh, it's so pretty. Now there is another deck called, I think, the Oracle of the Green Witch. So this is the Green Witch's Oracle deck. The Oracle of the Green Witch I also have, not by a Canadian, which is why I'm not showing it in this video. It's also very cool in that it really talks about sort of the different properties of ordinary everyday items that you would probably have in your kitchen. Like one of them's onion. So that is a very good deck. But this one's got a cozy vibe that I can't wait to pull out in early September and just live in the world of this deck. I think it'd be really good for pathworking. The images are so vibrant and beautiful and comforting. And so, yeah, that is the Green Witch's Oracle deck. And the Canadian artist is, writer, I should say, is Erin Murphy Hiscock. And Sarah Richards is the one who did the artwork. And she's from Salem. Okay, what's next? Let's do this one. So Asha Frost, perhaps. I don't know how to pronounce. And the artwork is by Holly Pichette. So both of these artists are Canadian, both the writer of the book and the illustrator of the cards. And hoo boy, do I love these cards. So Asha Frost has done a number of different decks, including a plant-based deck. I'm not quite so much into plant-only decks. I really like animal-based decks. So this is the only deck of hers that I have. And I've also... This might be... No, of course, I've got another Oracle I'm going to talk about in this video. What I'm going to say. Sorry. I have 2 Oracle decks, and I think that's everything in my decks in my collection that are specifically Indigenous. And I just sort of wavered for a long time. There are a lot of Indigenous tarot decks, and I wasn't sure what place I should have in those. So what I've decided is that first of all, I really want to support Indigenous artists. I am not Indigenous myself. Indigenous in Canada, or I mean, I guess my family's Indigenous to Scotland way back. Um, but I'm going to use it for myself as like a learning tool, allow others to sort of look at them and reflect on what they will, but I would never presume to teach or advise from the deck, if that sounds, I don't know, other than to myself and to learn from it. Uh, Now, these cards are so beautiful. I adore this art style. So that's the back. But yeah. And then we've got all the animal elders. So we've got, for example, the elder frog. And this art style, it's so great. And the guidebook's really fantastic too. Elder hare. And again, some good keywords. Seek perspective. I love the bat. Trust your senses, which is so good for the bat, right? Because of their echolocation. I'm just gonna flip. If I'm not careful, I'll show every single card because they're so beautiful. Cardstock is matte and gorgeous. I love just holding them in my hands. Elder otter. Play with joy. I just think they're so stunning. Elder ladybug is open to miracles. I feel like I'm going to use this deck, even though there's some winter images in here, like the elder lynx. I'm going to use this deck all summer. I can't. I think it's so beautiful. Elder Canada goose. And I love, again, the keywords are so fabulous. Invest in community. Right? If you think about how the geese fly and how they draft off each other, it's just so good. So I really like this deck, and I think I got this deck for 25 Canadian dollars. It feels to me like an indie deck. I think I showed the guidebook there. Good chunky guidebook, lovely messages. Love, 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 love. Okay, we've got two more. So in my tarot video, I showed two decks by Chris Ann, and this is my third and final Chris Ann deck. This is the Sacred Creators Oracle. I got this way back when it was an indie deck, and I was sort of unsure about it at first because it's so simple. So just it's hard to see. Sorry, my lighting's not good. So the cards are all numbered. We've got a little symbol and then a little phrase on there. Changes. I'll set that one aside for a minute. What's your honest truth? And there's, I think there might be 60 cards in here. That's card number 60, so it's pretty close. Creator genes. And the reason I wasn't sure at the time was because everything was so simple, just so simple. And while I thought the colors were beautiful, I was like, so what? And I was like, it's also kind of business focused, it seemed. So I was like, I'm not sure about that. Gratitude again. I don't know what to tell you. This deck is fantastic for me. When I pull it out, I'm always sort of shuffling it a bit skeptically and nervously, but then they've got all the elements are in here. So there's air. When I need it, I pull a card and it's always perfect. I don't know what it is about this deck that makes it so so perfect. I'm just looking for, there's the water card. So we've got you, the muse there. The other interesting thing about this deck is, I'm just going to show something. I'm finding a couple examples here. Is if you are looking at the first 22 cards in the deck. It's so funny. I've got all the high numbers here right now. Whatever. I've got 3 of them. They do have a resonance with the major arcana in the tarot, right? So if we look at the number 10, right? So Wheel of Fortune, here we have changes, and a wheel here. If we look at number 13, the Death card, we've got successive transformation. And then the moon card, Nourish the Sacred Feminine. So if you know your tarot major arcana, that's like a little Easter egg in there that I do like to use if I pull one of those cards, and just consider that as well. But there's also no need to. If you are just an oracle, not just, if you're an oracle deck user and you don't have much interest in tarot, that's neither here nor there. But if you do like tarot, then I think it's a neat little Easter egg in there as well. The cards are beautiful. I don't have the mass market version, so I mean the cardstock in this deck is just stunning. The indie is gold gilded. I'm not sure how easy it is to get the indie anymore, but I'm sure that I think Hay House did a nice job with the Muse Tarot and the Lightseers. So yeah. And Chris Ann did the artwork and the book, and there's an extensive book with the indie that I assume is replicated with the mass market, although I'm not 100% on that. And Canadian from Ontario as well. Is everyone? Actually, I think all the ones I have are from Ontario. Isn't that funny? Oh, I'm not sure. Actually, I don't think that's true. I think in my last one, my last one, the artist is not from Ontario. Let's move on to my last one. So my last oracle, Canadian content oracle, is Seeds from the Sacred Feminine oracle deck. So this is by Canadian Andrea Menard, and illustrations also by Canadian Leah Dorian. So both of the creators in this case are Canadian. However, what was I going to say about that? I can't remember. Leah Dorian, I think, is from Saskatchewan. This is another Indigenous deck. So the two Indigenous decks in my collection are oracle decks. This one also comes with a guidebook. And what I love about this guidebook right off the bat is it said this deck, Seeds from the Sacred Feminine, is not a deck for women exclusively, right? That we all nurture sort of different elements of our personality and that we are not living in a binary, right? So this deck is for everyone. And I'd be very interested to know if they're going to come out with a Seeds of the Sacred Masculine deck to accompany it. And then maybe others as well, sort of playing with this sort of idea of inclusivity and all of those kinds of things. But I was very grateful that they said that this isn't just about, like, everyone has elements of everything within them. So this deck is absolutely stunning. The backs are not my favorite. I just prefer to not have writing on the backs of my cards, but I don't find I really care, especially with oracle decks, because I'm just going to be looking at the front anyway, and I'm not caring about reversals or anything like that. I just want them upright. So wait till you get a load of this artwork, and it is not going to turn out on my laptop the way as good as it looks in person. Take a deep breath. And I like this one because this one's very verby. This one's like, do the thing. Stand barefoot on the earth. And the guidebook has a little write-up for each card. Speak your truth. With the eagle, look at that. There's so much to look at. You could meditate by counting, like the little white dots sort of under her feet. I just adore this art style. It looks sort of like beadwork. I'm not familiar with this art style. There's probably a better way to say this. Maybe it's not intentionally looking like beadwork. It's just what it reminds me of. Quest for a new vision. Put your hands in the dirt. You could take that literally or metaphorically when you're using this, right? It's just so great. Move your body. Cardstock's a little, well, barely glossy. It's really nice. And good to shuffle too, this one. Reuse something. Oh God, I'm not going to show you every card, I promise, but release your shame. I could just gaze at these for hours. I think they're so beautiful. I'm flipping through them to try and pick which one, but taste something sweet. I just love that. The strawberries and the appreciation of sort of natural sweetness and simplicity. Oh, this is a good one. Let yourself rage, howl, and wail. So good. Laugh, a big belly laugh on the other side of that. So I feel like this isn't focusing very well. My camera's probably struggling because they're so complex, these cards. Drink water. You know, just really, really good cards. So I've really been enjoying this. This sort of series of cards, and when you just need to be like, what do I need to get down to? What do I need to just do? I really like this one a lot. So this is the Seeds from the Sacred Feminine Wisdom cards. This is a mass market produced deck. All of the decks I've shown you today now are mass market. Again, the Chris Ann Sacred Creators Oracle, it is out for mass production. Just mine happens to be indie, but I think they're identical as far as I know. And then the Midnight Star is also indie produced, but you're going to pay mass market prices for this bad boy. I think it was 45 Canadian dollars plus shipping, which again, if you're coming from elsewhere, maybe that's a real deal for you. I don't know. So those are my CanCon Oracle decks. I hope you enjoyed that, and we'll be back with another video before too long. Have a great day.